Hey there friend, Zach here, and let me ask you a question. Do you have that one game that you hold so close and so dear to your heart that every time you play it, it brings such an enormous smile to your face?
The common answer for anyone who plays video games as much as I do would be, well, of course, why wouldn't I have a favorite game? And that's totally fair to say. With so many video games on the market, you probably won't find anyone that doesn't have a favorite game. And the reason that you might hold said game to your heart is because that game has a special charm to it. For example, the charm I find in a game like Sonic Heroes is the ability to play with multiple characters at once. Or the charm I might find in a game like Modern Warfare 3 is the pacing of the very active multiplayer. Now, what if I told you that there's a game out there that is universally praised and even worshipped as an icon? A game that you would want to have equipped with you at all times in case of any emergency. A game that truly has a personality of its own and has the power to make absolutely anyone smile. Yes indeed, that game does exist, my friend, and that game is Thrillville. Okay, so picture this. You're taking a trip to your local amusement park, and you are absolutely mesmerized with all the roller coasters, games, and restaurants around you. You say to yourself, wow, I wish I could be the manager of this place. I would get to build rides, test them, and do whatever I would want. Well, you see, I hate to be a killjoy, but that's probably not what you would be doing. But it is what you would do in Thrillville. I feel it's important to mention that this game was absolutely everywhere. I mean, honestly, there was a copy for almost every system in the 2000s. Nintendo DS, Nintendo Wii, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, the PSP, Xbox 360, Microsoft Windows. Like, if you wanted to make your own amusement park, I think it's fair to say that you certainly had access to it. But like any game that lets you live out an unrealistic fantasy, you get to create a character, and you get some options. Okay, I'll cut this game some slack, seeing as it was made back in 2007 after all. Remember when these belts were the rage back in the 2000s? Good times, I think. So the game starts off by showing you Doc Brown's crazy obsession with roller coasters that should kill you. Also, was that guy from Robots? Anyway, Christopher Lloyd gives you, a child, the okay to build the park's roller coasters any way you want. I mean, hey, if I was that kid, I'd probably jump up and down all around the room at the idea of having the ability to not only run the whole park, but also design and build roller coasters. And I mean, hey, if I was a paying customer, I'd probably jump up and down all around the room at the idea of having the ability to not only sue the park executives, but also a child. When you enter the game, you are put into the first and only park you have access to, Thrillville Stunts. There are 4 other parks that you can unlock later on in the game, those being Thrillville Otherworlds, Giant, Explorer, and Holiday. Once you are in the game, you have to go through a lovely tutorial that everyone asked for, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. The story to this game is fairly basic. As mentioned before, you have to run your amusement park and make it as successful as possible. The villain of this game, Vernon Garrison, runs the Globo-Joy Park and will do whatever it takes to sabotage your park. And that includes building hundreds of Rodney Copperbottoms to infiltrate your park and ride your rides, play your games, and buy your food, all without paying. How your employees just let this happen, I'll never know. You eventually drive off the robots by beating them in games and races, and the day is saved. Moving on to the gameplay itself, and as you would guess, customization is the key focus. If you have ever played a roller coaster tycoon game, the premise is about the same. Build your own roller coasters and make them however you want. And when it comes to building the coasters themselves, you have a lot of creative freedom. You don't even need to finish the coaster if you don't want to. You can send people flying off the roof if you really want to. I myself like to make my roller coasters as extreme, but as balanced as possible. There we go. You can also change the prices for the tickets for your ride. Naturally, the lower the ticket price, the more people will be drawn into your ride. Now, you're not limited to just building roller coasters. You can build water rides and even playable racetracks. Don't expect any Mario Kart level insanity though, but the races can be quite fun based on what track you made. Oh, you want a race? Yeah, that's right. He who builds the track is destined to finish first. so long as it's me. Okay, let's say that you are getting bored of making roller coasters for some reason. You can also create other rides as well as games. Now, the standalone rides are already pre-built, but you can still change the color of the ride as well as the ticket price. As for the games, well, they're okay. Alright, they aren't all horrible, but I don't find myself playing them over and over again. Believe it or not, the food booths also have their own minigame. It's your average bubble pop minigame. I don't like it all that much.
Splendid! You'll be running the graveyard shift soon.
No thanks. I'm more of a first shift kind of guy myself. Of course, your park needs to keep customers coming in, so you can hire your own janitors, mechanics, and cheerleaders. Now, it's one thing to hire them, but it's another thing to train them and make sure they know what they are doing. To train your staff, you have to complete specific minigames until they are 100% ready to go. To train a janitor, you have to pick up trash and someone's lunch with your Poltergeist 1000. To train a mechanic, you have to put your electrical engineering degree to good use by completing a circuit board. And to train a cheerleader, you have to play a rhythm game. But I'll pass on this one. Naturally, your visitors may not be pleased with some of the features of your park, and you can actually find out what they are thinking just by walking around the park. Yes, that's right, you can actually hear your own park's visitors' voices in this game, and you can actually get some good feedback on what your park might need. For example, a park visitor might say that he wishes there was a bathroom somewhere close by, thus giving you notice that your park needs more bathrooms. And just like the responsible park manager that you are, you make haste. Oh, and you can actually talk to each individual visitor and get their input on the park. You can even fall in love.
Unit flattered by puny humans' interest, but also vaguely disturbed.
That's not appropriate.
The music in this game is kind of weird. You have the game's own music and theme, sure, but there are some 2000s era alt-rock songs thrown in, and there are different tracks depending on what system you're playing on. Now, I can't unfortunately ignore the cons of Thrillville. I am very well aware that no game is flawless. For one, the models are reused way too much. You could be talking to one NPC in the game and go run to a whole different section of the park only to talk to an NPC that looks exactly the same as the one you just finished talking to, just with maybe a different hairstyle and clothes. The minigames are another complaint. Now, I'm fully aware that some people love the minigames the most, but they really just aren't for me. I actually find myself getting bored of them after about 5 or 10 minutes. I just personally find more enjoyment out of building different roller coasters and trying to attract as many people as I can to them. The controls can also be a bit finicky at times, but it is easy to look past. Also, when you sprint, I swear you go crazy fast.
So that's the greatest game of all time, otherwise known as Thrillville off the rails. And you know, I've got to say, to play a game that was held in the hands of so many world leaders and so many world icons, to say that I'm honored to play it would be a bit of an understatement.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. I do want to apologize for the long interval between my last video and now. There were a few events that transpired that really threw off my schedule, but I'm back and ready to continue. Also, I do want to say that I'm going to probably stop the weekly uploads. I'm not going to stop making videos, but I want to take a little more time just to make my content the best it can possibly be. Anyways, once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.